Sorry for the beeping, you guys. Hello, welcome. We're having a community discussion. We're talking about all the things that you guys posted that you wanted me to talk about today. So if this is your first time here, hello. So happy to see you. Hello, Shannon. I'm just sitting outside, and it might get kind of loud, I guess. There's the beeping. Hello, Miss Poppy. So good to see you. This is a global community for adult survivors of adverse childhood experiences who are living with complex PTSD symptoms. Hello, John Harvey and Hunter and Lisa and Anne and Vi. So good to see you all. Hello, Tracy. Hello, Alexis. Hello to everybody. So happy you're here. So we're hello, Gail and Deborah. Hello, Malta and Kira. So we're talking about, I might need people to remind me, like, the order in which we're going. Hello, Brandy. Hello, Cheryl. And so I asked you all, first of all, thanks for telling me not to delete the video from last week. Hello. Like, I was thinking, oh, I better delete this because it's loud and, you know, there's wind, and we didn't make it down to the ocean, which we were trying to get down to the ocean all the way down there, which is like, you know, it's like a quarter, half mile away, between a quarter and a half mile away. So we were trying to walk down last week, and I was like, oh, you know, my perfectionism gets the best of me. And I was thinking, oh, we totally need to delete this video. So, but you guys were like, no, don't, you know, like, don't delete it, you know? So I'm glad I didn't, because a lot of you were, you know, telling me, you know, thank you so much for not deleting it, and you really helped me just by, you know, being there. So that's really awesome, and I'm really grateful. So today we're talking about you know, sometimes we have abuse that occurs, and it's our family members, right? We endured abuse within the context of our family. And then there's loneliness that goes along with abuse, and just CPTSD symptoms in general are sort of loneliness inducing, because you can feel other than or different, and you just can feel like you're flawed, and like sometimes, you know, there are some agoraphobic tendencies, which, again, by the way, these videos are never any type of health advice or mental health care or anything. You need to be involved in your own mental health, like professional mental health experience. You need to have your own trauma-informed helping professional. Consult with a physician. You know, everything has to be on your own. These videos are just for you to be around others. This is just a trauma-informed place to be around your peers who are also living with CPTSD symptoms. Miss Poppy has a list of a whole bunch of different crisis resources that she puts in the chat box for everyone. And so yeah, so we're going to discuss the loneliness. Like, you know, there are some agoraphobic tendencies sometimes, you know, that come along with living with CPTSD symptoms, right? Like, we're afraid to leave the house because our worldview has been shifted. You know, we feel unsafe. We don't feel that the world is a safe place. We don't feel that we will be safe if we leave our house. You know, we struggle with that. And if our abuse happened within the context of our family of origin, you know, how do we cope when our family isn't supportive, right? They're not supportive of us healing. They're in denial about the abuse. They're saying it didn't happen. They blame us instead of taking responsibility for their own actions. You know, we have a loss of relationship as a result of, you know, dysfunctional family members that don't know how to acknowledge, you know, the pain that they've caused another human being. You know, so there's the isolation, the loneliness. You know, we're losing our blood relatives, right? Like, we can feel really lonely. And how do you even cope when it's your family? And I know there's more. Oh, triggers. How to identify triggers, right? So the triggers are going to be something. The way we can identify triggers, our body does not lie. So if we're around certain people, let's say you feel tense or uneasy around certain people and you just can't explain why. Let's say every time you go to the coffee shop, okay, let's just talk about a scenario and we'll just sit with this, okay? This is a good and healthy discourse. Let's say, and I'm not looking at the chat box right now, you guys, because otherwise I can't like complete a sentence, you know? Hashtag CPTSD. So I can't complete a sentence if I'm looking at the chat box. So I'm going to look out at the ocean, look at the flowers, look at the birdies, and the chat box moves really, really, really fast. So I have a hard time with it. So I'm going to give you a scenario so that you can first we're going to talk about how to recognize triggers, okay? This is going to be very helpful for anyone who doesn't really know how to recognize their triggers. And if you already know how to recognize your triggers, then good job, like high five. But sometimes people don't know how to identify their triggers. They're just like, what does that even mean, being triggered? Like, I don't know. I don't understand. What is that? So this is a good way to talk about it. So let's just say there's a coffee shop by your house, right? I'm just using coffee shop because I love coffee. Let's say there's a coffee shop by your house, okay? Let's say part of your daily routine is to go and walk to this coffee shop and get a cup of coffee. Say hello to the same people every day. You know, you have your coffee the same way every day. You probably order the same exact thing every day. You know, whether it's like I'll order like a grande drip in a venti cup with half and half and some stevia, right? Like that's what I'll order. Or if it's like Christmas season and I'm feeling, you know, like I really want to not be on any type of a healthy plan for myself, which I've been very good about lately, by the way. Then I'll probably order like a venti white mocha with peppermint syrup and I'll get like extra espresso so that it's not too sweet. So let's say I do this, right? It's part of my daily routine and it makes me happy. All is right in the world when I'm leaving my house and walking to this coffee shop, okay? This is the scenario on how we identify triggers. Then, over the course of the next like several months, we begin to realize that we don't really like going to that coffee shop anymore. And we're not really sure why. We're like, maybe I'll go somewhere else. Maybe I'll make coffee at home. I don't really want to go there anymore. This is a place that you really liked to go, right? You know, you've been going there for a while. And, you know, several months. Like that's part of your morning routine. You really liked it. And then you start feeling yourself resisting. You feel resistance in your body. You all of a sudden just don't feel like going to that coffee shop. It's not that your diet changed. You're not like, I don't like coffee anymore. Rawr. Like, it's not even that. Oh, here comes the beeping. Sorry, guys. My goodness. So we're just going to continue on as though there's no beeping, right? So nothing changed in your life. It's not like you decided that you don't like coffee anymore. You just feel resistance in your body and you don't want to go to that coffee shop anymore, right? And then you start to realize that that's really odd. I wonder why I don't want to go to that coffee shop anymore. I really enjoyed going there for like a year, almost a year, like several months. And now I don't know, I feel like I'm afraid to go, or like my body's resisting, or like I just don't want to go to that coffee shop anymore. And you start, like, you're kind of curious, like, I wonder what that's all about. That's just so odd, right? And then, out of nowhere, you're, like, let's say you don't like grocery shopping, okay? We're still on this scenario on how to identify triggers, by the way, in case you're keeping track with what it is I'm talking about. As part of your routine, you don't really like to go grocery shopping. Grocery shopping is something you don't enjoy because you're around, it's like way too much peopling, right? Peopling is hard. And those living with CPTSD symptoms, like, you know, words, people, like lots of peopling, lots of like adulting, lots of, it's just too much. Like you find yourself wanting to go to the grocery store at like 11 o'clock at night where there's no one there. And you're like, this is the best. Even though you're not a night person, perhaps. But for some reason, you just love going at night because you don't have to see anybody. Okay? All this is very plausible. All this is very healthy and normal. Okay? If you're living with CPTSD symptoms. Then, out of nowhere, you're doing your late night grocery run because it makes you happy. And, you know, the reason you go late at night is because you don't feel any resistance in your body. You feel resistance in your body to go grocery shopping during the daytime because maybe it's just too many people, too much communicating. You don't want people asking you how you are so that you can say, I'm doing great, thank you, how are you? You know, which isn't necessarily true, but you can't really say, oh, I'm not really doing very good. I'm actually kind of struggling. And then people look like, you know, visibly uncomfortable. And then they go, well, you know, you should just be grateful. Look where you live. Look at the view. Like, what do you have to be upset about? Like, what could you possibly not? There's never a bad day where you live, right? I mean, the whole rest of the world is on ice. They're all struggling with the polar vortex. Look at you. You have not a care in the world, right? So maybe you don't like going to the grocery store. You feel a bodily resistance. You feel resistance in your body because you don't want to have people minimizing your human experience, trying to tell you how to feel, and it just bothers you. You just don't like it. So you go at nighttime, you go at 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, whatever it is, right? So this one night, it's like a random Wednesday, and you're at the grocery store, your 11 o'clock grocery run, and all of a sudden, you see someone at the grocery store. And it's the new employee that you just sit there and you're like, where have I seen that person before? Where have I seen that person before? And you realize that's one of the new employees they hired at the coffee shop that I used to go to. And you realize that that person looks familiar in a weird way, like it just causes you to feel unsafe or you just don't like the way they look. So like a week or two later, you're sitting at home because you don't go to the coffee shop anymore, and now you've stopped buying groceries, and you only, you know, get in your car and go through the drive-thru, or you order takeout and have things delivered to your house because now going to the grocery store isn't even safe. So you don't go to the coffee shop anymore, you don't go to the grocery store anymore, and you begin to realize that, like, the mustache that that person has, or their haircut, or the types of clothes they wear, or like the flannel shirt, or like the way they wear their jeans, or the way they walk, or the way they smile, or the way they talk, that person that you saw during your 11 o'clock p.m. grocery run that you realize got hired at your favorite coffee shop that you no longer go to, all of a sudden you realize that this in-body resistance experience that you're having, this bodily resistance, is the same about the coffee shop as it is the grocery store. and you've tied it all back to this one particular person because it reminds you of Uncle Jerry on Thanksgiving when you were 7 and you didn't want to be alone because you knew that he was just like a creepy, weird dude that like smelled like beer and old shoes, like shoe leather or something, right? So I'm just saying, you guys, you know what a trigger is. You recognize a trigger because you feel it in your bodies. You feel it in your bodies. If you have an in-body resistance to going anywhere, listen to your body. If you have an in-body resistance about someone, listen to your body. If you have an in-body resistance about, yes, smells. Yes, you guys, olfactory, Ulfactory. Look it up, olfactory, Ulfactory, olfactory. Anything olfactory will trigger you back to a moment in time, and it will take you back, you guys. It can be a very lonely feeling, a very terrifying feeling. And you can feel very defective and other than and broken and wrong. And, oh, it's olfactory, my bad. O-L, not U-L. Don't listen to me. Listen to Anne. O-L, Olfactory, okay? So, you all, I'm telling you, listen to your body. The way you can recognize triggers is you will feel it in your body. Yes. And it could be anything. Rachel Grant describes it. Rachel Grant is a great podcaster, blogger. She's a sexual abuse recovery coach. And welcome to anyone who's brand new. By the way, if this is your first time, I'm so happy you've chosen to be here. So Rachel Grant, she describes, like, the way that she describes it is, she says, let's say that there's a woman, and she lives in, maybe she didn't say New York City, I'm sort of like improvising here. She lives in this new town. She's so excited. She just graduated college, and there's a new bakery that opened around the corner, and she's taking her route to work, and she notices that the new bakery is open, and she smells pumpkin, like pumpkin pie, pumpkin muffins, pumpkin something. And she has a really off day, and she can't figure out what it is. Like, what is it? Why did I have a weird day? And she's walking to work the next day, and she smells pumpkin. And so turns out, long story short, if you will, the smell of pumpkin triggered her back. So the smell of pumpkin triggered her back to, let's say, I believe her abuse happened. I believe it was on Thanksgiving or whenever they were serving pumpkin pie. So anytime she smells pumpkin, she feels triggered. It brings her right back as though she's there again. And so she had to, and temporarily find a different route to work so that she could feel safe and so that she wouldn't feel triggered and having a rough day at work, right? So just trust your body, you guys. That's a really good way to recognize triggers. Now let's talk about hello to everyone who's here. I'm so happy you're all here. Thanks for all the thumbs up, you guys. Thank you so much for all the thumbs up. You're very kind. Every single time you do a thumbs up, it helps me. It shows YouTube that the work I'm doing is good, and that they should recommend my videos to other complex trauma survivors who are, looking for validation and feeling they don't want to feel so alone. So welcome. So we're also going to talk about, isolation and loneliness, right? Isolation and loneliness is a thing when you're living with CPTSD symptoms, because not only are you hypervigilant, not only are you feeling anxious, you have physical sensations in your body that are anxiety inducing, and you try try to explain to people, you know, why it is that you're not feeling fantastic. And they, as much as they don't mean to, they minimize your human experience by saying things which are invalidating and not encouraging, not kind, not patient, and it causes you to believe that you're healing wrong. If anyone needs to hear right now, someone who's here right now needs to know that they're not healing wrong, right? You're not doing anything wrong. You're doing the best you can. You're healing, right? We don't, if we're here as a result of adverse childhood experiences and we're living with CPTSD symptoms, we didn't. First of all, the definition of complex trauma is interpersonal trauma, meaning that it's another person. There's an uneven power dynamic, so it's someone that's bigger than us or stronger than us. And there's no way for us to escape from them, either perceived or real. So we don't do these things to ourselves, right? There was another person involved in our trauma. And these symptoms can last years and even decades, okay? So I just want you to know, like, you're not healing wrong. Nothing is wrong with how you're healing. You're doing the very best you can. And I don't know who it was, because I just glanced down for a second. Someone said that they feel like they're getting worse and they're not healing, or they feel worse now that they're healing. I just want to encourage anyone here who, you know, if you're beginning to feel worse than you were when you first started healing, there's one of two things that are happening. Either it's very temporary and you're going to feel much better really, really, really soon, or you are in contact with a person who has toxic tendencies that is reminding you in your body of your abuser. So again, if you're here and you're healing from CPTSD symptoms and you're starting to feel worse rather than better, one of two things is happening. Usually it's one of two things. You know, we're just going to make sweeping generalizations on this call, right? No, we're not going to make sweeping generalizations, but I am going to say that it is very common that one of two things is happening. One, you're uncovering some new memories and it's very, very temporary. Be patient with yourself. You're just going through a very brief stint of uncovering some new things. You will make it through. Or two, you have come in contact with a toxic person who is reminding you in your body of someone who was abusive to you, someone who caused your trauma. Okay? I just want you to know, all right? It's usually one of those two things. Either it's temporary and you're just in a very temporary, brief bout of, oops, this is a new memory. Wow, I thought I had worked through this. I'm going to work my way through this. I am going to get through. Or there's someone that you have come in contact with that reminds you of they have toxic tendencies and they remind you of someone who was abusive toward you. Okay? So just hang in there, you guys. You're not healing wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. You're doing the best you can. You're doing so good. So the next thing that we had on our list to talk about tonight, we talked about triggers, right? How to identify those. We talked about a little bit about family and your family of origin, and, you know, how to cope with that when your abuse happened within your family of origin, which I feel like maybe we should talk a little bit more about. That's almost like a full hour-long conversation, because what's going to happen is, unless you do your best to sort of separate yourself from your family of origin and create a life for yourself apart from your family of origin, if there's anyone who was, you know, toxic and caused your abuse or facilitated your abuse, if you're still in touch with the people who were abusive toward you or facilitated your abuse, then it is not likely that healing is going to take place. It can be a very difficult thing to cope with. And so one of the best ways to cope with healing if your abuse happened from a family member is really reaching out and getting plugged into some sort of a safe community. Like I've built these, I have these free Facebook groups that I've been building over the last 4 or 5 years. Some of them have 20 people, some of them have 50 people, some of them have 100 people, some of them have 300 people. And those are all free. And then there's other groups that I have through the foundation. If you go to cptsdfoundation.org and you look for like daily calls, or there's a book club, you can be involved with reading books about trauma and healing trauma and be involved with a community of people that really want to heal. Or you can be involved in the daily calls. The daily calls are $50 a month, 365 days a year, 45-minute calls. 365 days a year. It's $50 a month. Or the Healing Book Club, right now, I think it's still only $5 a month. The price is going up, but that's only $5 a month, and that's every week. Everybody gets together and they read through books about healing from trauma. It's just a wonderful thing, right? Or that, like I said, if you like Facebook and Facebook is a safe place for you, then great. There's free groups on Facebook. I prefer to be away from Facebook because Facebook is where my family tends to hang out. And I don't really like to be around, my family of origin for too long, with the exception of my son, my daughter-in-law, and a couple of my cousins. I don't really like being around my family of origin because it can be a very invalidating or re-traumatizing or triggering experience for me. And I need to believe that I'm worth it. That it's okay for me to get away from that. My healing is worth it. I deserve to heal, I need to believe those things. And that's a hard thing to believe if I'm, continuing to, like hang out where my family of origin hangs out, which is why I built an entire foundation with private servers, and there's communities over there, there's groups over there. Like, it's amazing, you guys. It really is a safe, awesome place, and I like it a lot. So, it's a hard thing. So, again, if your abuse happened within your family, it's the best possible thing you can do to help yourself heal is to build yourself a life that feels safe in your body. And you got to go places that feel safe in your body. You got to find ways to feel safe, whether it's shopping at the grocery store at certain hours, going to only certain places, living in a certain area that doesn't include toxic people, not allowing toxic people to text you or call you. And if they do text you and call you, you don't have to reply. Not hanging out in the same places that they hang out, like if they hang out on Facebook. Or, let's just say, you meet some people that are in, different types of healing groups. Like there are some great communities online, and it's the best way to heal abuse within the context of your family of origin is to have a family of choice, right? Like that's why I call all of you my framily with an R, like FRAMILY, my framily, because you're my friendly family of choice. And I had to create that on my own. No one did it for me. And I think it's unjust. I think I deserved someone to, if they're going to be super crappy and abusive, they should have set me up with some sort of something, right? But they didn't. So, yeah. I think there's another topic that we're going to be talking about. I think it's isolation. Let me see. Isolation, loneliness. Let me think. Triggers. I'm trying to think of what the other one was. Don't you love that I can't remember? Oh no. I'm trying to figure out which other topics that we're talking about today. So we're talking about healing from abuse that happens within the context of our family of origin. Talking about identifying triggers. We're talking about loneliness. Oh, disclosing abuse. Yes. Thank you, Miss Vi. Yes, we were already talking about abusive family members for sure. So disclosing abuse. My goodness. So you guys, I want to just start by saying, hi Andrew, so good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. And it's you've probably been here. I've been doing different videos where I'm either here with you guys hanging out because you've said that you really like that. Yeah, so disclosing our abuse. So I think it's worth mentioning that when we disclose our abuse, it's a choice. No one can force you. No one is able to force you to disclose your abuse if you're an adult. They can try to force you. They can try to manipulate you, or they can be manipulative, right? But no one can force you if you're an adult. They can't control you if you're an adult. So I disclosed my abuse when, let me think. Well, I tried to disclose my abuse when I was little. That didn't go well. No one believed me. They shut me up. They told me that I should just be grateful for my life and that I would never know what abuse really was. And, you know, it's like, you know, it's so invalidating. It's so incredibly invalidating to, like, try to tell the truth and then have people not believe you. I mean, oh my gosh. It's devastating, you know? Because if you've been abused, right? And if you're here on this channel, like, then you're living with CPTSD symptoms as a result of adverse childhood experiences or some other form of ongoing abuse in adulthood. And if that's the case, you know, you're not making it up. Complex trauma, by its very nature, is interpersonal in nature. It means there's another person involved. And you didn't abuse yourself, right? And yet we walk around and we feel as though we are to blame. So be very, very kind to yourself and be very careful about disclosing your abuse. Because, you know, like when I tried to disclose my abuse when I was younger, it was denied. And when I tried to resist the control of my family and the exploitation that they were putting me through, they excommunicated me. They kicked me out of the family. And then it was like such a mind screw, because I was like, what? I'm not even good enough to be abused anymore? Like, what's the deal? You know, it's such a horrible, horrible feeling, because you feel completely and totally like you have no insides, right? Like your whole insides are scooped out and replaced with something else that you don't even know what it is. So when I tried to disclose in my adulthood and share, it was very, very difficult, and I wasn't believed again. And I was invalidated and minimized and told that I should be over it. And then there was my whole, my church telling me, like, it's, you know, you need to just forgive. And it's like they didn't even know that they were making it worse. Like when the church leads with forgiveness when someone has been abused, they screw it up from the moment they start. Because the person who's been abused needs to be able to choose to forgive, because forgiveness is a choice. Just like when someone chose to abuse them, that was a choice. Someone else chose to abuse us. They made a choice, right? And to force us to instantaneously forgive something so heinous and wrong is invalidating of our human experience. It's confusing for us. It seems as though they're taking the side of the abuser. They're ignoring what it is that's going on with us. They're refusing to believe that there are ramifications, there are consequences to people's actions. And it's just very, 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 very painful and confusing and re-traumatizing. It's a re-traumatization. So it's important for, it's important for you to know that if you're choosing to disclose your abuse, that you set yourself up with a really good support system ahead of time, knowing that people are likely going to deny and invalidate your human experience. So that way you're not you're not caught off guard, taken by surprise, And it's invariably that's what's going to happen. Rarely, if ever, I've never, ever, ever, ever heard of someone saying, I disclosed my abuse and my abuser took responsibility for their actions, apologized, my entire family made sure that I got the proper care and therapy, and we're all living happily ever after, and we get together every year for Christmas or the winter holidays, Boxing Day and all the other things that Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and, all the things, right? I've never heard a situation like that. People who choose to abuse others don't take responsibility for their actions. They just don't. And it's really sad. They really should take responsibility, but they don't. So if you're going to disclose, please, please, please set yourself up with a support system. Make sure you reach out, and you know that it's going to take you a while to heal. And, get in touch. Like I was saying, like I built all these communities. I had a lot of help. You all that are over there, like, some of the groups have 20 people. Some of them have 100. Some of them have 300. Like, there's different communities for different people. And then there's ones over through the foundation, CPTSDfoundation.org. Oh, and we're getting ready to set up text messaging, you guys. I totally forgot to mention. I was supposed to mention text messaging 38 minutes ago, and I didn't. Ugh. Epic fail, you guys. We're starting up daily text messages. Hello. So when the page goes live, when we have the whole system with the software set up where you get daily text messages, just encouraging messages, like daily reminders that you're doing the best you can, and healing is a journey, and you're not on this journey alone. And they're from me. The daily reminders are from me. It's like, I think you're going to go to cptsdfoundation.org/text. If you try to do that right now, there's no page there. It'll say, oops, we can't find the page you're looking for. But it's because we're still setting up the software and getting everything figured out. So, I think there's a question that came. Hi, Angela. Yeah, so we're talking about that tonight. Angela says, how do you deal with the grief that comes with realizing that those who hurt you have never and will never do the right thing, ever? They will never apologize. They will never admit, and they will never help. Yeah, that's a reality. It's a reality for a lot of us. And I think the only way I've been able to deal with that type of pain is like just making sure, again, that we give ourselves the space, the time, and the patience to take as long as we need to heal. It's a really hard thing to accept. Really, really hard thing to accept. If I could please recommend a book, I really want to recommend a book, Angela. I don't know what your situation necessarily is, but there is this book by Dr. Carol McBride. I think I've recommended it before. I think it's called Will I Ever Be Enough? And yeah, it's called Will I Ever Be Enough? Oh, look, there's one of my birdies. There's one of my birdies. Hi. Hello. Oh, there he is. Hello there. Look how cute he is. Isn't he cute? He's moving closer and closer. He's like, are you gonna feed me? Hi. He's so cute. He's a Java sparrow. Hello. He's like, when are you gonna feed me? Oh, he flew away. How cute was that? Oh, so cute. Nice little distraction, right, guys? So when we have to, Dr. Carol McBride wrote this book called Will I Ever Be Enough? And she talks a lot about how when we're going through the grieving process of grieving that these people who were abusive in our lives don't ever apologize, they don't ever do the right thing, and it's very, very painful for us. So she talks about how, like, the grieving process is like Karen Kubler-Ross wrote about the grieving process, her seminal work, with the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Well, what Dr. Carol McBride talks about is if you're healing from narcissistic abuse of any kind, or abuse within the context of your family of origin, the most important thing that you got to do first is accept that the abuse happened, regardless of the gaslighting. No matter how many times people say that it didn't happen, or that you must be lying, or you should be over it by now, or maybe you're not remembering it correctly, etc., etc., etc. It's of the utmost importance that you just accept the fact that your abuse did happen. You must accept the fact that your abuse did happen. That's the very, 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 very first step. And then once we accept that the abuse did happen, and we're not denying it or minimizing it or pretending that maybe it's going to get better, or that someday maybe they're going to apologize, then like true healing can actually happen when we accept that the abuse happened and that there's not an apology coming. And I know that I'm, like, again, painting with very broad strokes, making sweeping generalizations, which is never my goal here. But the book, Will I Ever Be Enough, is excellent and really walks you through with some very, very practical strategies on how to not crumble under the weight of the pain, knowing that you're never going to receive that apology, right? It's so, so, so hard, Angela. So hard. So painful. Yes, Shannon says, the book Will I Ever Be Good Enough was one of the first books I read. Yeah. Hello, Miss Joey. Hello, Pixie Painter. Hello, Lynn. It's so great to see everyone. Sharon says, my family ostracized me when I told, and they testified against me. I'm so sorry, Sharon. That is such an unjust thing. That's a criminal act. I just want you to know, Sharon, that I believe you. I believe you. You guys, complex trauma survivors rarely, if ever, are making it up. Lisa, I believe that book is available on audio, for sure. And I'm creating audio versions of my books as well. Since I know that you're here, I haven't seen you in a while, but I know you've come before, and it must mean that you're okay with my voice and you don't find it annoying. So you will be able to, feel supported. But yeah, Will I Ever Be Good Enough? I believe that book is available on audio. So do what you got to do. Do what works best for you, Angela says, I feel so broken by CPTSD. I'm socially awkward. I feel lonely and abandoned. I mess up relationships all the time. I feel like such a loser. I have ADHD tendencies as well, you guys. Angela, I am quite socially awkward. I can pretend that I'm not, but I really am. Even when I'm in social situations and I'm not causing others to feel extremely uncomfortable, I feel extremely uncomfortable. I'm very socially awkward. And I too have felt very, very lonely and abandoned. And I for a long time, I messed up my relationships, right? And I felt like a loser. It just takes some time. It really, It really, really just takes some time, Angela. Please be kind to yourself. You know? It takes a lot of time. Anne says, my family would triangulate with other family members. They would tell them lies about me, turn them against me. Oh, yeah. Flying monkeys, triangulation, for sure. Totally. Yeah. Wally, I feel lonely too even when I'm walking on the street. I feel very, very awkward when I'm at the grocery store. I don't like going to the grocery store. I feel very socially awkward. Yes. INFJ in the house. Represent. Yeah, I definitely don't feel normal, but I'm getting, it just takes some time. I think I'm getting to a place where I'm feeling better and better over time. I want to believe that. I'm getting sunburned, I think. I need to move. Ooh, got very, very bright. Hold on, I'm going to get my sunglasses. I gotta just stay back here in the shade because I think I got a little bit sunburned. I'm trying to heal my skin issues, not add to them, right? Let me try to go inside a little bit. Open up the screen door. I'll go sit on my couch again. Okay, I'm back. Hey Lynn, this is my little apartment. It's a little one-bedroom apartment. And it's on the west side of the island of Maui in the state of Hawaii, the most remote island chain in the entire world, farthest away from any other landmass. Why? Because I got the heck out of there, right? I got the heck out of there. I mean, I probably didn't need to move this far away, but I did. I got the heck out. And here I am, healing. The little birdie came back. He's like, where's my food? John Harvey says, I am a ninja at avoiding people and things. Oh, Poppy, take extra good care of yourself, dear. No problem. Take extra good care of yourself. I think we're right towards the end of the call, towards the end of the video. And get you. There, that's better. Oh, Lisa, thank you. It is a really pretty view. It is. It gets lonely, you know, because, hello, I'm in the middle of nowhere, but I'm healing, and that's what matters. That's my priority right now. My priority is that I'm healing. Lance says, I realize it's harder for others to understand me sometimes. At least I can tell them why. People don't understand me either, Lance. It can be really hard, though, because you're a male and you're healing and you're on this journey. And, you know, it's just so hard. I have such a tremendous amount of respect for my survivor brothers. It is so, 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 so painful and lonely because of just the, you know, social expectations, societal expectations put on men to be like strong and whatever. It's just, you know, it's just so much. So I'm sending you so much support and kindness. Jeffrey Sherman says, Athena was like, family of origin? Emotional abuse? Nope. I'm getting out of here. Yep, that's me. Exactly. It is a great place to heal. You are not alone, Elise. No, no, no. Yes. It is a place. It's a wonderful place to be. Yes. Yeah. I don't walk to the beach daily because I have social anxiety and there's a lot of people there. But if I know it's like gross weather out, then I'll go down there all the time. Like when it's dreary and the sun's not out, I go down to the beach because I know nobody's there. Because I have social anxiety, like debilitating social anxiety. Yes, Jeffrey, well said. We have to become a priority in our own lives. Hi, Joey. Joey says, is it common for survivors to get triggered easily over verbal abuse rather than physical abuse? Absolutely. Most definitely. Usually verbal abuse when we were children, Joey, was a precursor to other forms of abuse, which were tremendously soul-destroying and traumatizing. And so anytime we're around any type of verbal abuse, it can feel very, very, very unsafe. Very unsafe. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. And thanks for being here and just allowing me to just show up and hang out with you and spend time with you. And, you know, yeah, I wish, John Harvey, I wish I could have, you know, like I wish I could build like a big, 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 wonderful place where I could just have everybody here. Just swoop everybody up and bring them here. So I'll post, if you haven't subscribed to this channel and you want to, that would be fantastic. And if you do choose to subscribe, click the bell notification, the little bell, and then you'll get a notification when I send out a little query asking you what types of topics do you want me to talk about. And it would be wonderful, you know? It'd be wonderful for you to get that message and be able to chime in. Today's topics were mentioned by Angela and Aquarius. I think it was Aquarius. What's the full name? Let me see. Angela and I'm finding it. 1 second here. It will take me a second, but Angela M. and says Aquarius something. Ooh, Anna Digital says, Athena, last week for some reason I looked on Google Street View at the house I lived in as a child when I was abused. It was strange seeing the house after all these years. If someone can tag H1 Anna 2 Digital, let her know that I'm mentioning this at the end of the video, but I recorded a video on this channel a couple years ago, or maybe a year or so ago, called Re-Traumatization. I don't have the link to it right now, but I talk about that. I talk about re-traumatization, and it really, like, sometimes we just need that validation. Sometimes we just need, oh, it's Aurora Aquarius. Aurora Aquarius and Angela M. were those who sent in topics for tonight. And so yeah, Anna, I talk on that particular video. Maybe I'll link that down in the comments section for you. But I've talked about when I Google mapped and did Google View all of my, like, a lot of my sexual abuse and different, like, exploitation that happened from my mom and my grandma. Oh, good, Anna, you're still here. Yeah, you're not alone. It's, sometimes we just need to know it's real, and we need to take the memories we do have, and we need to piece it all together and go, okay, all their gaslighting, all the times they told me that I was just imagining it all, they're lying. I remember, and my memories are real. They're not going to be able to confuse me and tell me that my abuse wasn't real. You know? So, I'll find a link. Yeah, sometimes there just isn't enough rocks. Exactly. One of my favorite movies of all time ever, Vi, for sure. Yeah. Angela says, right now the hardest part for me is living with this hole inside me, feeling empty and alone no matter what I do, where I am. Just know, Angela, I promise you I've been in that spot. Like, just know that it is, just know that it's a temporary thing. It's a temporary thing that you're in right now. That is, I know it seems like it lasts a really long time. It's temporary, and if you're feeling that way for too long, it could be that you have come in contact with someone who's toxic, whose personality traits remind you of those of people who were abusive toward you when you were younger. So just be really gentle and kind with yourself. Hello, Declan. So good to see you. Declan, I totally forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video, you guys, but the United States does daylight savings time. I don't where I live, but everybody else does. And our daylight savings time is 2 or 3 weeks different than yours, Declan's. So Declan, in like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe it's 1 week, 1, 2, or 3 weeks, Declan. Yeah, Angela, that's definitely the case. As soon as you are separated from that, as soon as you possibly can, it's gonna feel so much better, Angela. I promise you. I promise you. You just gotta, you know, just be extra kind to you. Just know that you're not alone, okay? But yeah, Declan, I hope you had fun when I guess you went out to the pub. I hope you had a good time. But in like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you guys are gonna have daylight savings time. So here in the United States, it started yesterday, and where you are, Declan, and in the UK and Ireland and all over, it's not going to be for another 2 or 3 weeks. I can't remember exactly the date. If I tried to ask Siri right now, like, it would cut off the video. Like last week when I was trying to show you guys the little side street. Lynn is in the UK. Lynn, in UK, is daylight savings time in 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Malta. So good to see you, Declan. You do belong. You are worthy. You are good. You are lovable. You are safe. Declan or Lynn, when is your daylight savings time? Yes, this is a good place for a retreat. Most definitely. Yeah, March 31st. So, bye, Lance. So happy to have you. So I'll see you all next week, okay? And Declan and Lynn, I'll be an hour earlier than I normally am. This is an hour earlier than we usually are. But thank you, Shannon, for posting that. So I have discussions like these, not on video, but we do screen shares and psychoeducational materials in a trauma-informed peer support environment. And we do it 7 days a week, 365 days a year, over at CPTSDfoundation.org. So if that's something that you are interested in, then great. Otherwise, we have free groups on Facebook. Oh, it's okay, Pixie Painter. So good to have you. And we do have a book club if you want to click on the link in the chat box there at CPTSDfoundation.org. I think it's Healing Book Club / Healing Book Club. Oh, God bless you too, Anne. Thank you for being here. Yes, Malta. We will be at this same time next week, and this same time the next week and the next week. And it will be back to the normal time after March 31st if you're located in the UK. The book club is $5 a month. Tabbyba, I need you to email my assistant Lisa if you didn't hear back from the form, because everyone's been responded to. I responded to everybody personally or had my assistant do it. So if it didn't go through, then it didn't go through. But if you go to cptsdfoundation.org, Tabbyba, and you click on groups and you fill out a form, then you're going to get responded to because everybody's responded to. Or you can email my assistant Lisa at cptsdfoundation.org, and she'll send you a link to the same place I just told you to click. So everybody's already been welcomed into groups. Everybody's taken care of. Yeah, the book club is $5 a month. The cost is going up to $10 a month. I don't know when, I think in a month or two. Oh, it doesn't apply. Oh, good. Okay, Malta. Oh, yeah. You remember to love yourself too. You guys take really good care of yourselves, okay? You're so welcome. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for being here. And thanks for subscribing and clicking the little bell. And thank you for the